Namaste to everyone. Welcome to our new episode on career counseling. And today we have a special guest with us, Dr. Suresh Mane sir. Namaste sir.
Namaste, namaste.
He's a very special person to me. I know him since 8 years now, and he has both experience of being a government employee and also as a professor and principal. Mane sir is a doctorate now. He holds a PhD. He has done his engineering and MTech in mechanical stream. He has worked for railway since 1992 to 2012, so over 22 years of experience. And then he shifted in serving the students, that is academics, from 2012 to 2015. He worked with an engineering college. Then he is at present a principal in GSIT College in Karwar. He is a principal there since 5 years. So it's a greatest day for me, because such an experienced person is going to give his time to share his experience to all the students, all the viewers who wants to have career in railways. So today's topic here is career in railways after engineering. So welcome to this session, sir.
Thank you. I also welcome all the viewers to watch, and please feel free to ask whatever you can ask, so that it will be of benefit to the engineers.
Yeah. Any questions you can please comment in the comment section. We'll make sure that you will get some reply from us. So, sir, first question to you, sir. You have experienced both the life of being a government officer for 22 years, that too in one of the reputed institutions, that is Indian Railways. And then you also have a huge experience in the academic section, that is the private section. What do you experience the difference between the government job and a private job?
There are like two different domains. Government has its own domain and its own functioning style, and private sector has its own functioning style. They both have their own merits and demerits. It depends upon the individual person as to what he cherishes the most. You have competent people on either organizations, whether it's private or government sector. But ultimately it is our life, and we have got very finite life. So whatever best we are able to make an impact, we should be able to do it. And we should always have a passion to do something of our own. We should follow the passion. So luckily government sector, my experience was excellent. For this 22 years where I worked, I traveled the length and breadth of this nation. I had opportunities to meet few of the finest officers in railways. And learn a lot of things in railways, and even contribute a lot to the railways also, both at carriage repair workshop in Hubli as well as diesel loco works repair at Krishnarajpuram in Bangalore. Okay. It is called diesel loco shed basically at KR Bangalore. So one thing in railways and government sector is the attrition rates are very low. So normally young people, when they join at the age of 22 to 25 and all, they serve that organization till they retire. That is what I have seen in railways. That is the greatest advantage. Whereas in private sector, the attrition rates are very high. People keep changing jobs at like a drop of the hat also nowadays. So every 6 months, every 1 year, you find people moving out.
Yes.
But in railways, it doesn't happen. See, government experience, definitely being in a huge organization like railways, you have a lot of opportunities. Especially in railways, you have huge opportunities. Your job is secured, and you can definitely make a living till you retire. And railways definitely gives a lot of facilities to its employees. And a lot of learning, because railway also, when I joined, the technologies were very old. Dated technologies was there, but railway has transformed in the past 2-3 decades. Lot of transformation has taken place in railways. Even technical inputs also. I think you might have seen earlier days coaches were different. Earlier days locomotives were different. even the track, even the signaling system, all these systems have undergone a sea change. And today I am happy to say that railway is in par with the global best. Whatever the best technologies are available in railways globally, they are available in India now. So that is the advantage. And lot of peace of mind is there if people actually. But one drawback what I feel is, if you have a lot of peace of mind, you don't grow really. You should have some challenges. These challenges keep you on the toes, And once you get government sector, people become complacent, and some of them lose health.
Yeah.
I see, and even they lose competence over a period of time. They like you say, sharpening of the saw. So if you are sharpening, people don't sharpen, and that also I have seen. And people, instead of contributing in organizations, they think what the organization is doing it for me. Mostly people look at the finance or economic side of their lives and livelihoods. But as a whole, railway is a very secure job, and especially depends on which department. Railway has almost 11 departments. So which department? And engineering also, we have got 4 departments. Like mechanical engineering is one. Then we have civil engineering also one department. Third is electrical engineering. The last one is signal and telecommunication engineering, which takes care of the signals and telecommunication issues there. So that way, it is a very good experience. You interact with a lot of people, lot of learning. In private sector, what I have seen, these are not that organized actually.
Yes.
Private sector, especially small organizations, even big organizations, they are not. And money is the most only motto of the institutions nowadays. Like people have commercialized education. That is a bad thing. I think new education policy, they want to remove this concept. They don't want that people should set up institutions to make money only.
Yeah.
But you should actually have a larger goal of guiding and grooming the young generation who are the next citizens of this great nation.
Yes.
So definitely it's a moral responsibility to contribute. So I have the best of experience in both the sides. I will definitely look at the brighter side of life and say that I had a very good time always, and I am having good time in academics also. But the good time is I am able to contribute basically. Basically, point here, if you are able to contribute, you feel happy about it.
Yes. You have experienced both the careers which are a dream for many youngsters, sir. Many millions of people, last time when there was a vacancy in RRB, there was 1 lakh post and there were 2 crore applications. You can understand such a big thing where 2 crore is more than the population of New Zealand. So many people want to get into it. And you have experienced railways, and also you are a principal and professor also now. So you have really lived your life well, sir.
Yeah, thank you. By God's blessing and by good friends like you, I think I am fortunate enough. I really consider myself fortunate enough.
So now coming to the point here, various ways of engineers entering into railways. So what do you think, sir? How they can enter? For bachelors, not the diploma holders, the bachelors.
Graduate engineers, they can enter railways. One is you write UPSC Civil Services exam. UPSC Civil Services exam you can write. They take engineers can join in stores department, personnel department, security, operating department, commercial department. These departments also engineers can join. Any graduate can join, not only engineers. Any graduate can join through this civil services. Then you have got Indian Engineering Services also.
Yeah.
You have Indian Engineering Services that is exclusively for engineering graduates. So there you have got 4 streams in railways, like mechanical engineering stream. Then you have got civil engineering. Then you have got electrical engineering, and finally you have got signal and telecommunication engineering. So these 4 streams are there. They call IRSME, IRSE, IR. These are the 4 streams through UPSC Indian Engineering Services, which are conducted once in a year. So these are 2. Then you have people now even in railways has got some public sector undertakings also. I don't know whether you are aware, like Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, then Konkan Railway Corporation Limited. So there are some 8 to 10 public sector entity, the Container Corporation of India. So these people also, they take engineers, and you can join them through GATE exam. GATE toppers also they select in these organizations, and you can join this. They will have a personal interview also. They will shortlist based on the GATE exam, and then they will have a personal interview also. And you have got railway recruitment boards, as you said. Railway recruitment boards are very popular now. I think we have 17-18 railway recruitment boards which recruit. But these railway recruitment boards, they recruit only for Group C candidates. The railway recruitment boards are only for Group C, and Group B in railways is only by promotion. There is no direct recruitment to Group B in railways. And Group A is through this UPSC Civil Services exam and Indian Engineering Service. This is the grades how you enter railways.
So Indian Engineering
and nowadays people,
the benchmark, right? Actually, what students lack, sir. Even I have worked with engineering colleges, and me also being a student, we were not aware of this Indian Engineering Service as this should be the aim. Many students lack in this. They don't know what is the best in engineering in the field of government service.
That too in Indian Engineering Services, you have got many like Indian Ordnance Factory, Military Engineering Services, but railway is the toppest. Only the toppers come into railways, get into railways through that. Now that is a good thing, and what I personally feel is the ecosystem matters. Actually, we from this state, basically we are like a very easygoing people. We are happy with what we have. We are not very highly ambitious, but I have seen, I have worked in Hyderabad for some time. I have training in Hyderabad. I got training in other places also, and all Bihar. There people are very, very competitive. They have a dream. Railway is a dream for them. What I have seen. And not only this, actually you are talking about railways as engineers, but I have seen people who leave railways engineering jobs, they join into civil services also. So this is people who qualify in GATE, they come into public sector undertakings. After public sector, then they write IES, they join railways. After IES, then they write IAS, they write civil services exam. I have seen all these kind of people. So
they're aware of so many.
And they are very highly competent. Exactly. That ecosystem is lacking in India. Lacking in our state particularly, what I feel. And our state is very safe to stay, so people really like to be in their hometowns, and whatever they get, they are happy with and contented with whatever they have. Because they don't have very high aspirations.
But now things are changing, sir. Things are more demanding, and they are not competent, and they feel it is impossible, and they end up getting small jobs, and they are getting frustrated. I can see that, sir. Being in this field of coaching now, I can see all these things which is happening.
No. See, first of all, there is you should not have anything called like stress or frustration. Life is a very small and short opportunity. So, and it is not that everywhere luck also plays a role. It is not that everybody gets all the positions in life. There is something called destiny also, but of course you need to work hard towards that, and nothing comes by fluke. A lot of hard work. Even railway, your people are talking about railways, but it is definitely. I worked in mechanical engineering department. A lot of real work goes into that. So, and a lot of discipline is required. It is not rosy as people paint it. Definitely it is secure, but it is not rosy because it is very demanding. I can tell you, when I left railways and joined academics, I saw that these academic people, they hardly work. That was my notion, because in railways it is more like a 24/7 job. If you are maintaining a fleet of locomotives, so that the locomotives are traveling through the length and breadth of this nation. So it is like a 24/7 job. But in academics, people come around, say they teach one subject. Professor means one subject he will teach. He'll go. This kind of leisure is not there in railways at least. I think. You are like always on your toes. You are planning something. You are doing some firefighting business. Something is happening, and there every hour counts, every minute counts, something like that. But in academics, that is not the case. And after one semester of 4 months, you will have 1 month exam, 1 month vacation. These things are not heard in railways.
Yes.
These are definitely not heard in railways. And I have seen now lately engineers are joining even loco pilots. Many of my students, they have joined as loco pilots also, I have seen. And some of them have joined as technicians. But they subsequently get promoted. Maybe 5-10 years down the line, they get promoted as engineers. That is for sure.
Okay. So you can brief off what are the facilities one enjoys being in railways?
The railway, I'll start this way. You join railways, so like mechanical engineer, suppose you join as a junior engineer or a section engineer, or even IES you join through IRSME. So there you are provided a training of 1 to 1.5 years training.
Sir.
So this training is like pan India. You are exposed to all the manufacturing units. You are exposed to workshops. You are exposed to all the establishments in railways. One thing, it starts with your training, and then your railways provides most of the railway people, engineers and all, they get their accommodation also. Like earmarked accommodation will be available. So hunting for a house is not an issue. I never hunted. Like we have nice accommodation is available. Then you have leave facilities are available, not like in private sector. Here it is more organized. Like you have got earned leave, you have got casual leave, you have medical leave. Okay, all these leaves are very organized, and medical facility is there. So for you and your family, and if your parents are dependents on you, then medical facilities for the entire family. Not only during service, even till death. Post retirement also you enjoy those facilities. Then travel facility is one thing. If you are fond of traveling, you can travel anywhere in our Indian Railways with your family. Even post retirement you enjoy these facilities. And railway has got like hundreds of holiday homes where you can go and stay. Like I stay in Goa, Darjeeling I have stayed, North India, South India, everywhere you have got this all these places of tourist interest. Railway has got its own holiday homes. Then even schools, railway has got some own schools. It has got, and every year they conduct some annual camps for women and all. So that annual camps are arranged for families of railway employees. So likewise, many facilities, and pension is definitely you get a assured pension after serving for 20 years in railways. That facility is there. So these are some of the few facilities you enjoy as either as a railwayman, even post retirement also you enjoy this benefits.
At an entry level, what do you think? What will be the salary? Sir? Everyone wants a better salary.
If you correct now I'll tell you this 7th pay commission. First, when you talk of salary, you should understand there is something called 7th pay commission now. So in this there are 18 scales. There are 18 scales, pay scales in this 7th pay commission, and they start from 18,000 rupees. That is for a Group D employee.
As a
to
basic.
Pardon?
As a basic, 18,000 as a basic.
Yeah, these are, see, when we talk of salary, it is basic.
Yeah.
And you salary is always spoken in basic, because the DA keeps changing every 6 months. The DA keeps changing. So basic will be 18,000. To the highest salary is 2,50,000 rupees.
Okay.
So that is a pay scale at 18th scale. So railways, if you join as a junior engineer also, your starting basic will be 35,000 rupees.
Okay.
For junior engineers, and for graduate engineers it is 45,000. Section engineers it is 45,000 rupees basic. And if you join through IRSME, that Indian Engineering Services, you start with 56,000 as a basic.
Yeah.
And added to that you get your DA, house rent allowance, city compensation allowance. These allowances are added to that. So I think 18,000, 35,000, 45,000, 56,000. These are the basics.
Yeah, as an entry level. Yes.
Yeah.
I also feel, sir, like someone who is from a lower middle class person or someone who is very poor, once he struggles hard and get into railways, his next generation will be secured at least. They will get into a good education system and all. What do you say?
Yeah, that is for sure. That is for sure. Once you are into railways, like your livelihood for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever is there, that is assured. So you can provide quality of education to your children. I think that is uppermost in people's mind. For the past 2 decades, I am seeing people are educating their children. That is one of the things people aspire for. So definitely education is taken care by railway employees.
Yes.
That is there.
Yeah. So in the recent days, we can see that railway is also offering private people to invest, like IRC, CTC. They have also started their own trains. What do you think? Future private people are entering a lot here.
No, actually, see, railway is a huge family of around 14 lakh direct people who are working.
Yeah.
Around 13 to 14 lakh people are directly working. And we have almost, I think, more than that, people are retired people like me who are retired from railways.
Yeah.
So, what has happened, the railway earns a revenue of around 2 lakh crores per annum. Latest figure is around 2 lakh crores they earn. And the earning mostly 2/3 of the earning comes through the freight services. Only 1/3 comes through this passenger services because it is cross subsidized. Unfortunately, because of a government sector, the prices of railway travel have been very low. Especially passenger travel has been very subsidized. I think you can travel from Belgaum to Bangalore for 300 rupees in a railway coach, whereas in bus they'll charge you $1,000, almost 3 times than that. And AC bus will be around 1,500. So railway is very much subsidized, and that is why there is the finances are hurt basically. Railway finances are hurt. And one thing. Second thing, now all along the intention of running railways is like more of a societal concern. Like it is a lifeline of the nation. It connects people. It helps in national integration. These were the buzzword all these years. But of late, now people are more oriented towards economy, more oriented towards growth, more talking in terms of fiscal terms. So here what has happened, keeping this trend, then slowly the non-core activities are being shelved off. Like first it started with onboard cleaning of the coaches, housekeeping services, even the IRCTC, what you told, Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation. So these non-core activities are being hid off gradually. But the core activities still remain with railways. I'll tell you my personal experience. I'll tell you what is the difference. People in railways now, when they join and work for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I've seen, they have a proper understanding about the system. And they have very high level of commitment and loyalty towards the organization.
Yes.
Whereas these private people, when you talk of a commercial private people and all, they are oriented towards money, oriented towards profits only. Then what happens? Their attrition levels are high. Even other day I was reading this CAG report, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. He has given a report. Now because of this privatization and all, it is hurting railways. Basically, not in terms of money, but in terms of quality of service, quality of maintenance of locomotives, quality of coaches being manufactured, that is taking a hit. Because the people who are dedicated to railways, they are committed, they know the technologies, they work properly. But if a person keeps changing, for example, locomotive maintenance, loco has got thousands of parts. So to understand that itself, it takes almost 10 years to understand about railway locomotives. If some private fellow comes for 6 months, he will not be able to understand that. I hope you are getting me. So these are very high technological area where you require very stable people, not that people who come and go. So that will not help. Actually, this is a big, even in comes to railway contracts also, they are given many of the contracts they started outsourcing, as I said.
Hmm.
It looks good in the short term, but in the long term, it will hurt. It will definitely hurt. But only non-core activities they are giving. As of now, these commercial activities, they are being outsourced. Not the core activity of plying the trains or maintaining this rolling stock, whatever you call, coaches, wagons, and locomotives, railway track maintenance. So just to offset the cost, this initiative is being taken. What I feel.
Yes. One more thing, like many students face this problem that when there is a Group D post being called, where the requirement is SSLC or ITI, but you can still see there was a news where MTech person from IIT had joined that post. Okay.
No. I think, you go beyond that. That boy from MTech from IIT, he openly told he will not be there in that post, Group D post for many years. After 3 to 5 years, he will be in Group C post. And after 10 years, he will be in Group B post. See, that the railway offers you that opportunity, that window of opportunity that you can grow. That is for sure. It is not that you join in Group D means you remain Group D. No. Within 5 years, you come to Group C. Within 10 years, you are in Group B. Within Group 10 years, you will be in Group A also. That is there. If you are competent, definitely you grow. That opportunities are definitely available.
But sir, when a person who has done engineering and joins as a trackman, do you think, sir, he does justice to the trackman thing because he has that engineering thing in his? What
No.
do in this situation?
No. I think very good question you have put, because this is not only engineers, even many ladies also join nowadays.
Yes,
so what happens, trackman is not that all the 100% people are on the tracks only. There will be some people in the office also who take care of this clerical work, ministerial work, what we call. So these people who are educated or who are ladies and all, some caring people, mothers, they can work in the office also.
Okay.
It is not that engineer who is taking a hammer and is on the track itself. That doesn't happen. So railway, we give them suitable positions. Though they are recruited like that, they will be suitably utilized to the best of the capacity of the employee, as well to the best interest of the organization also. That is taken care of. It is not that all engineers.
Yeah, what happens is that actually a person who does ITI and is preparing for competitive exams for Group D, but where he cannot compete with engineers, so somewhere this imbalance thing is happening.
See, I'll tell you one thing. When you say like this now, that engineers are joining these positions, please understand, we are now talking statistically. So now you are talking about, say, 5% of the population. It is not that all the 100% of the Group D jobs have been taken away by engineers. That is not the case. Correct? Like I think you had told some time earlier that even banks, like probationary officers in banks, even civil services, now most of the engineers are there in civil services as well as in bank probationary office. Because these people are competent, they competent get into those kind of jobs. That is the point.
So that's what I tell students, that when you do engineering, you learn at least that competitive spirit there, and that will help you for preparation. That is also there. So then finally, sir, what do you think, sir? Your tips for students for preparation strategies to get into railway?
I think a very nice question you asked. This should have been the first question, actually. You are asking it as the last. See, first of all, I'll tell you, please have patience. Because railway recruitments don't happen overnight. Railway recruitments take minimum 1 to 3 years. Okay. Please have patience, one thing. Secondly, please add value to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Please add value to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Like if you are studying engineering, try to understand the concepts of engineering. Because railway exams or even GATE exams or your Indian Engineering Services exams, they don't test your memory, they test your intelligence, analytical skills, basically. So you need to understand the fundamentals of whatever you are studying. And one more thing I'd like to say here to add on to this, please study, because like when you study engineering first year, you study electrical engineering, elements of electrical, elements of mechanical engineering, elements of civil engineering. So I have seen, especially in RRB exam, because there is no separate exam for mechanical engineers or civil engineers or electrical engineers. The exam is common. So that fundamentals what you study in first year of engineering, they are very important.
Yes.
So you should understand what is Ohm's law, what is Kirchhoff's law. Okay, what you should understand strength of materials from civil engineering point of view. So all these kind of knowledge, basic knowledge should be there.
Yes.
Proper understanding about the subject should be there definitely. And you have got lot of time to watch good videos on YouTube, like IAS coaching videos are there, GATE coaching videos are available. So like not on a soft skill, basically soft skill comes only when you clear the exam and have to appear for personal interviews. Otherwise now in Group C post, Railway has abolished the concept of personal interviews also. So it is only stage 1 test, computer based test, stage 2 computer based test, and in some cases like Group D and all, where the physical stamina is required, so they check the endurance when they make you run long jump, high jump, these kind of
bags,
physical endurance.
25 kg bag.
Yeah. Actually, when I was in Bangalore, I was officer in charge for recruitments also for Group D for 4 days. So I'd like to share this experience also.
Yes, sir.
In that grounds now. What I found there, for 4 days I was there, almost that physical round, what they call running and all. Our state students now, they come with all that branded shoes, branded what you call top and this track pant and all, track suits and all. These guys could not run even 1 round or 2 rounds also, and they came out of the rounds. But these poor people from Rajasthan, Bihar, this I have seen, they never had shoes also. Even on that patta this underwear, they were running with some torn banyan, and these people could complete those 4 rounds, that is 1600 meters in some 6 minutes. As in all these 4 days, only these guys were able to complete that. And our people with all that Nike, Adidas, branded things, they could not run go for the 3rd round also. So my advice is you should be competent. You should be competent physically, intellectually, and definitely there is a change. So now definitely we should take advantage of this. Now you are conducting this interview for the benefit of engineers. So you should have a desire or dream to get into railways. It is definitely a dream organization, I can say. You should have a dream and you work. It may take you 2, 3, 4 years, but definitely it is worth that. And you add value to yourself, and you can definitely have a good life in railways.
Yeah. Someone who is doing diploma, sir, I would sometimes suggest him that if you want to get into railway, he can prepare for 1 or 2 years and then get into railways instead of just again going to engineering. What you say?
Now, this point also, I think good. This concept is not there in, again, as far as my knowledge goes, in our state. But elsewhere, I have seen people in especially competitive states like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, and all. People take 1 year, 2 year break. Even from their jobs, they take break, as in. And then they'll do aspire for the civil services exam and all. So as you said, diploma fellows, they can. That is worth doing this. If they work for, they take a break for 2 years. That is why in the new education policy also, what you have seen now, the multiple entry, multiple exit scheme is there. So a person who joins a graduation, he can come out after first year, he'll get a certificate. After 2 years, he comes out, he gets a diploma. After 3 years, he gets a degree. So something like that, multiple entry, multiple exit. So that concept is there. It is worth if some person can study for 2 years, but he should have that ecosystem. Yes. You should have some people whom he can sit together. He should visit the library. He should update himself and take on a lot of online tests are happening. So this test he should take. Then he can definitely do. That is not a bad idea, but it is not very prevalent in our state, what I have seen.
Okay. Yeah. So finally, sir, anything else which you remember which I have not asked, which is important for students' point of view, you can add, sir, in your way.
The students, what I personally feel, nowadays they are very smart. Young generation is very smart. They are very tech savvy. They know how to use all these gadgets. So I only would advise them that they should make use of the technology. Like you have got smartphones now. You have got good internet connectivity. So every day you should have self-discipline. So whatever time management is there, you should have proper goal setting. Then you should have proper time management, and you should have a proper ecosystem of friends where you all together. Like instead of being competitive to each other, you should complement each other and grow collectively. So definitely these things are coming up because, as you said, many people are now understanding that we have to get into some good jobs like government sector jobs. So you need to struggle for it. It doesn't come, it's not a cakewalk, and you need to struggle. And if you put efforts, it is not impossible. Definitely, I cleared RRB exam twice. Even departmental exams, I passed 4 times. So if you are competent, if you are on your toes, then definitely you can not only come up, you can shine also in railways. But it is not only this. Even some people they go for what you call even corporate sector jobs. See, when you talk of private sector is not only the small and petty jobs, but there are some good multinational companies also. They are hiring, and good opportunities are available in top corporate jobs also. If you are really competent, you can definitely go for corporate jobs also. MNC jobs are there, not only pan India, multi cities, multi countries. Opportunities are definitely available. So the engineers should also can aspire for these MNC jobs in the corporate world. It is not only they can definitely join corporate world also if they want to. There are many, I think around 15-20% people join corporate world also. But railways people mostly prefer or government jobs they prefer because it's more secured. But I don't think in days to come with this kind of privatization or private players coming into railways, this kind of job security and even the pension scheme is removed. What pension we enjoy, that is not there now. So now it is a new pension scheme. So that benefit has been taken away. So definitely, if you work hard, learn your concepts well, keep growing, write examinations, have a good company of friends, improve your physical health, mental health, definitely sky is the limit. You will lead a good quality of life, and you will have fair and ample opportunities to contribute and grow.
Yeah. So one question which I think I've missed, which is everyone will ask me in future also that why you did not ask this. Everyone will ask you, especially every day. I think someone will ask you why you left railways when you had so much of wonderful facilities. Why you left railways? I'm sure many mamas have asked you this thing.
Yeah. No. I think very good question you asked. It's not that I am the only person who left railways. Yeah. There are many people like me, but very small fraction. When you compare statistically, it is a very small fraction of people who have left railways. See, I joined railways in the 90s, and 2012, after 22 years, I left railways at the age of 44. Okay. See, please understand that Government of India only in their 6th pay commission, they told it is not my concept, this is a concept introduced by Government of India only, that those who have served the organization for 20 years and who are in the age bracket 40 to 45 years, let them leave the organization. So that see, you do not think about an individual, you think about the nation. See, ultimately I am a citizen of this country. Whether I am serving railways or I am serving academics, I am serving. Basically I am contributing. So I felt that I will do a better justice to my job in academics because I was more passionate about teaching. So I definitely, keeping that in mind, I left railways. Not with any monetary things in mind, nothing like that. I had a desire to study. After leaving railways only, I could finish my PhD. Otherwise, in the job, I was not given getting leave also to complete my research, and my guide was slightly upset with me. You are not serious about research. So I felt that I can contribute better in academics, and to be an academician also you require some qualities, like you require a clean character, you require a good analytical skills, you require proper qualification. So I had this competence, so I took a chance. I thought, let me see, I have already seen the best of railways, so let me see the best of academics also. This is how I left railways.
Yeah.
Because after 50 and all, you cannot leave because neither you are physically fit nor mentally fit to leave and take up another job, and this is slightly risky. So at the age of 44 when I left, so I had some energy and enthusiasm. That is why I joined Railways. I could complete my PhD. This is the point.
Yeah. Sir, many students who are planning to join engineering now might also watch this video. And many calls I get, sir, people are saying engineering field has no scope these days. Should I go or no? Firstly, I advise them to take career counseling from me. Only then I say go. You can just suggest, sir, that what is the future of engineers these days? Now it is suddenly shifted to computer science. What about mechanical, electrical, and other things?
No, sir. Actually, what has happened, I'll tell you. This is like engineering has a lot of value in the past. It has value today, and it will have value in the future also. Because whatever this contributions you see, now you are using technology like phone or internet connection, whatever it is, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics, all these branches of disciplines of engineering have a great impact of mankind. And that is what we call development, whether it is an automobile sector, transport sector, aviation sector, you name the sector, everywhere the country is doing well, the world is doing well. So, and this is mainly by the contribution of the engineers. So engineering is definitely a very good field to study. You really solve people's problems. Okay, but unfortunately, what has happened? People are finding out easy ways to pass exams. They are not really learning engineering for the sake of learning engineering. They are studying engineering for the sake of a degree. So that is the main difference. And once you passed one semester, you will forget that subjects. Then you take the next semester, you study, pass, then you forget. You cannot conveniently forget. You cannot forget the subjects of engineering. All through, even when I say GATE exam or RRB exam or your civil service exam, they'll ask you right from first year. 10th standard questions also will appear. So there is no question of forgetting anything. So engineering definitely has got a good scope. Today the trend is for computer science because now there is a lot of hue and cry about artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, industry 4.0, blockchain technology, big data analytics and all. Okay, these are all like trends. But even now, I think lately, I think you see now mechanical engineering, and now there is lot of demand for mechanical engineers. I think this month you see September car sales and all. They are looking for now sales engineers. So there is need for mechanical engineers also. But unfortunately, people are taking the easy way out. Everybody wants to sit in a AC office with a laptop or computer and have a white collar job. But mechanical engineering is not a white collar; it's a blue collar job basically. Yeah, definitely have got a great future. So it is not like that. Only this is a temporary setback for 3-4 years, and again it will rise. This phenomenon is seen not only now; it is seen in the past also. It is not the time it is happening. Maybe you and me are facing it for the first time. There are downtrends, and then it will also pick up in near future. But new technologies are also there.
So engineering is still there, you said, yeah. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this session. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time and your value.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
See, I'll tell you only one thing. If our discussion could even impact one person,
yes, surely.
Even one sentence, even one word, somebody takes it seriously, and even one sentence and one word can change the life of a person.
Yeah.
I honestly hope that our students, I am not saying they are not trying, they are definitely good, but there is something better, there is something best also.
Yeah.
So our only desire is to bring out the better and best in all the students.
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time. It was really, I'm very fortunate that you gave me so much of time, and my audience are also very fortunate that such valuable suggestions will really impact their lives too. So thank you very much. God bless you, sir. God bless you with good health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We hope this video added some value in your life. Please like and comment your views. Subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon to get the notification of our weekly videos. Our videos will be added under two different brand names. Brand number 1, Smart Sutra. Here we add competitive exams related videos. Brand number 2, Srinivas Balaraju. Here we add career counseling and career guidance related videos. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also check out our online courses for competitive exams, soft skill training programs on our website smartsutra.in, where you can also book your career counseling appointment too. Thank you for watching.